but it really is, for me, I want people to be doing what they love. Yes, of course, there are the hard days, but if you're doing what you love, those hard days are a lot easier than when you just hate everything in life.
This episode is brought to you by Executive Help Now and powered by Livestream Editors. At Executive Help Now, we're all about simplifying your business so you can focus on what really matters. From streamlining operations and managing your back office to producing podcast shows and keeping everything organized, our team is here to help you thrive. If you're ready to make life just a little bit easier, hit us up at www.executivehelpnow.org. Y'all, today's show is so good.
But number one, I've never seen an intro like that.
It is my hope and desire that not only will episode 30 still be fun, but episode 300 will be even more fun.
You are made for something great, so go and be awesome.
Ten seconds remaining.
And welcome to the show. My name is Renee Hastings, and I'm your host of Renee Speaks. Y'all, I'm so excited about today's guest. She is truly amazing, and when it comes to combining different interests, she has mastered it. Let me tell you a little bit about her. Her name is Cecily North Rudow, and she is a certified archivist and certified travel advisor who combines her love of organization and preservation with her passion for building itineraries. She has built a thriving travel agency while balancing a full-time career and raising her daughter, helping clients create memorable journeys with care and precision. Y'all, put your hands together for Cecily North Rudow.
Thank you.
Hey, Cecily.
Hello.
How's everything?
Wonderful. Busy.
Oh, well, that's a good thing.
Yeah, for sure.
That is awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking a little bit of time out of your day to spend with us and share with our audience how you have mastered two such diverging seeming interests into one masterful business. I can't wait to hear all about the journey and the story.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. So tell us, what led you from archiving to travel advising?
So I had been in the archives world for about 9 years, and I was kind of at a point in my career where I wasn't going to get promoted. I wasn't going to be moving on. So I was looking for other opportunities. I ended up getting hired as an executive assistant for a director. And so in the 3 years I worked for him, I was booking international travel, domestic travel. I was also booking group travel because we had a group of our administrative team who were traveling the country to look at other buildings because we were in the process of building new buildings. And then I was also booking my own travel to Disney World and Disneyland multiple times a year. And so my husband at the time was getting a new job. We were going to be moving, and I really just needed to figure out what that next step was going to be. And so I went online I literally Googled how to find your passion. And that led me to looking up how to become a travel agent. And that was 12 years ago now. So yeah, kind of crazy, but it all perfectly blends together now.
Wow. Isn't the internet great?
Sometimes it's really helpful.
I am telling you, because, we get to those places in life sometimes when we're like, Lord, I'm a Christian, so I pray a lot. Like, Lord, what is happening right now? What truly am I supposed to be doing? What is my purpose? I don't even know what I'm waking up for every single day.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to know that you can relate. And yeah, we have very similar backgrounds. Me coming from the executive assistant world and supporting the C-suite of Fortune 100 and Fortune 500 companies, and to me, that was where my fulfillment was in being their assistant and making their lives easier and that sort of thing. So when my kids left and graduated and flew the coop and we were empty nesters, I was like, let me see if I can get some of my own clients, to do the same thing. And because, why should I just support one person when I could support, multiple?
Yeah.
So that's how Executive Help Now got started. So I totally get taking where your passion is and just kind of parlaying that into what you really want to do, what really makes your eyes sparkle and shine.
Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more too, Cecily, about how did discovering passion through a roundabout path shape your journey? Because it's not typical. It's not a standard route that you took.
Yeah, absolutely. I very much thought up until my probably even into my 30s, I thought it was going to be like, go to high school, go to college, like very linear, get married, have the kids, have the career, all of that stuff. And that was not at all my path. And so I took a break in undergrad, like I took a year off, which was also unexpected, and then ended up getting my bachelor's, and then got into archives very quickly out of that because that was my passion. But then after 9-10 years of doing that, and then falling into this executive assistant role and really finding that was the hardest job I've ever had in my life. I cried many, many days, and then fell into these other admin type jobs. So I was just kind of like doing things but not really excited about any of it. And so the travel stuff was like my one thing to really hold on to. And now 12 years of travel now and being back in the archive world and really seeing, growing my business and also I now have 2 master's degrees and certifications and all of that. I really like having letters after my name. So I keep joking with my husband. I'm like, I've got a bachelor's, 2 masters. I'm going to get 3 PhDs going. But it really is now such an advocate for education, professional development, and finding truly what it is that you are wanting to do in life, because we are not meant to just sit at a desk and be miserable in whatever it is that we're doing. We really should be out there doing what we truly care about, because when we're helping others in that way, they can feel that too. Like, it's just, you're helping the entire world by you being passionate about what you're doing, and that spreads joy and all of those things. And so, I've really just become this advocate for finding it is that you want to do, because that path isn't going to be linear most of the time. And I think it's really, there isn't the messaging out there, right? Like when you're planning in high school to go off to college or whatever it is, like very rarely are they saying there's all these other opportunities you can do. Like you don't have to go to college. And so just finding that and sharing with people that the path doesn't have to be that way. You can start your career over in your 40s, 50s, 60s. You can go back to school at any time, So that's really where it's all kind of come together, and really where I'm finding my real, like, you can see just like how excited I get about it. So yeah, just sharing that whole journey, because a lot more of us are like that than that linear path.
Yes, that is so true. And first of all, congratulations to you on all of your there's that definitely deserves hand claps. When you have a family and you got other competing obligations, you may have a full-time day job and you're now in school trying to, meet deadlines, do the syllabus and work with team members on projects and do presentations. It's a lot.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. If people have been out of college for a while, they may have forgotten.
Yep. And it's very different now. It's very different now than it was 20 years ago. So yeah.
Yeah. I can only imagine. So I was one of those adult college graduates. And so that's where I'm speaking from too. So we're like right here.
Yep.
Definitely relate to what you're talking about. Because my son was still in high school when I got my college degree, but I didn't want us to have to share graduation dates.
Yep.
So I graduated the year before he did. But we would study at the kitchen table at night. He's working on a paper, I'm working on a paper.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, it was pretty wild, but it's so fun and great memories. And such an accomplishment and a feeling of achievement when you finally, get to wear your order your cap and gown and actually wear it, across the stage, get your diploma. So fantastic. So I did not want to gloss over that because that's major. That is so now I also want to know a little bit more about archiving. What sparked your interest in archiving?
So I always joke that it's genetic. My mom worked for a library. So I was born in California. We moved to Colorado when I was 10 years old. My dad got a job out here. So we moved out here. And then my mom did admin work. And then I started 6th grade at a new school and they sent us off to like this camp for a week. And I came back from camp and my mom was there to pick me up. And she's like, I got a job at the library. And I was like, cool, I like libraries. And then that turned into a 20-year career, which she ended up retiring from several years ago now. But so that was kind of like, of course, when she couldn't drop me off somewhere else, I was coming with her to the library. I ended up in high school, we had a community service requirement. So you had to have so many hours of community service, which I ended up doing in local history at the library. So that's really what started it. And I just found that I just had kind of a knack for being organized and taking chaos and making it organized and making it just in a presentable way for researchers and things like that. And then went off to college and then ended up going to school. So my bachelor's is in architectural history because I wanted to get into historic preservation. And then from there, when I was graduating, I was again going to the internet and being like, what do I do now? Because I'm about to graduate and I don't have a plan. And I found the Student Conservation Association, which works with the National Park Service, and they do internships for college and graduate students all over the country for various things. And one of the things was working on the archives at Ellis Island and the Statue of Liberty National Monument in New York. So I moved from Arizona to New York and then interned there in the archives and just absolutely fell in love with it. So when that was done, I came back home, started volunteering back at my mom's library, and the rest is history. So now I've been off and on, left for a while and came back, but now I'm 14 years with the library. So yeah.
Wow, that is amazing. Quite a journey. And then after college and you went into supporting executives as an executive assistant. And like you said, that was the toughest job ever. Cried many days. So relatable. I've had some really great bosses and I've had some really awful bosses in corporate.
Yep.
Did not make life easy at all. Had many of those days crying in the parking lot, like, Lord, make her go away.
Yeah, it was absolutely like, what am I doing? And also it wasn't even my boss. It just was like the environment that we were in at the time was really, really stressful. There was a lot of external stuff going on. But yeah, I mean, and now looking back at it, I'm like, but also, taking the lessons from it and realizing, that's not what I want to do with my life, but also, it really made me learn a whole lot really quickly.
Yeah.
So, there's the good and the bad of it, but crying a lot.
For sure. For sure. And that's the way I try to look at things too, Cecily, is also just what good came out of this. Mm-hmm. This was a horrible, horrible experience I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. But what purpose did it serve? Mm-hmm. Did it make me stronger? Yep. Did it make my trust in God stronger? Did it increase my faith? Did it increase my reliance on him? Dependency for strength to deal with all the nonsense. I mean, without these trials and rain, we don't get rainbows, right?
Yep, exactly.
So I try to look at things that way, similar to you. Like, what is the lesson? How was I prepared? What purpose is this serving? And I later have discovered, because they say hindsight is 20/20. Yep. All of those experiences set me up for entrepreneurship.
Yep.
And all of the roller coaster effect of entrepreneurship.
Yep, absolutely.
So, oh my gosh. No, being an entrepreneur is no joke. Some people might think, I'm going to run my own business. Okay, yeah, I'm all for it, but be prepared.
Yep,
There's a lot that goes into it for sure. So tell us then, now that you've blended your skills and your passions, how do organization and preservation connect with building itineraries? Let's segue into that, into your travel.
It's funny now when I present to networking groups or to clients or whatever, and I tell people, most people, know that I work for a library and I have a full-time job, but I always say, I have a degree in how to research. And so it really is like, I can make things so much more efficient because I know how to weed out the noise and everything from those Google search and those internet searches that people, and even AI now, to help people really craft their itineraries. And it really is, I think, that ability to research and find the right results, which is what librarians are good at, and finding the right things for clients. And so, I've had several clients now over the years where I've sent them, I send them a proposal, I send them options, I let them decide, but I'm like, here are some really great choices, always happy to find more, but here's kind of the best of what I could find in your parameters. And I've had so many clients come back now and they were like, I didn't even know that was an option, or wow, this is a really great deal, or I love this, and so it just kind of helps them not get overwhelmed in the whole process. And then part of that too is that part of my process and my itineraries and everything they're archived in the CMS system. So in a year, they get a little message saying, hey, you were on this trip last year. Let's make more memories and things like that. And so the preservation side of it too is like remembering and helping people create these memories, because that's really when people are traveling, you're traveling with your spouses, your friends, your family, the people that you want to make memories with. And being able to say, hey, you're doing all of these special, a lot of times once in a lifetime trips, bucket list trips, things, celebration travel, all of those things. And let's preserve it and, share the photos, share the memories, and keep remembering that what a great time you had on these trips. And so that's a really fun part of it too, that I don't think people realize in the moment, but then later on, when those Facebook memories pop up and they're like, oh yeah, that was such a good time, we should go do that again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, call Cecily.
Yep.
Right. I love it. I absolutely love to travel. And that was actually one of the funnest parts. I don't even know if funnest is a word, but that's one of the funnest parts of being an executive assistant when I was working in corporate, was planning travel for my executive to go from A to B, or, whatever, for business and then personal trips and things like that. And then even for myself, planning travel, like I said, I love to travel, and it is for the memories. And usually it's my husband and I, and we're going someplace and we're trying to create new memories. And the hearing you talk about the different itineraries and putting together the options made me think, wow, this has been really great when I was planning his 60th birthday trip to Cartagena, Colombia. And I had ChatGPT, thankfully, and his sisters, who are amazing travel planners, and because they do it a lot. And one of his sisters travels internationally several times a year. And so they're great resources, but there's so much that goes into planning a trip that people don't realize, all the details. They say that the devil is in the details.
Yep.
But it's when you are able to know, number one, what needs to be done, because you don't know what you don't know. You could be on a whole trip and not realize, oh man, maybe I should have got some trip insurance, things like that. But if you don't know, you just don't know. But that's why there are people like you with agencies like yours to share their knowledge and expertise into all the things that you need to factor in when you're planning on making memories with your friends or family or whatever. So tell me a little bit more about your agency. Are you under the umbrella of another larger company, or are you independent? How does it work?
Yeah, so I am an independent contractor with Dugan's Travel. So they are my host agency, which is basically like my corporate office. So they provide our training, our education, our insurance. They do all of our, payment processing, all of that stuff. So they are my host agency. I have been with them now for 12 years. I have never gone anywhere else. Been with them, and they are really a boutique host agency. So there's only about 300 agents. We are very, very small, but we also get a ton of training and one-on-one time with suppliers. So I always make it a point every year to make it to our annual conference, where I am meeting. We are literally in a conference room from like 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day, having supplier presentations one after another. And that is a really great one-on-one time where I'm actually talking to suppliers and representatives and so when I email them, if I have a client that has an issue, they know who I am. I'm not just this nameless person out there. If I say Cecily with Dugan's Travels, they're going to know who I am. So it's all really about that networking and those relationships that I really, really appreciate about what they provide. But then I am an independent contractor. So like I have my own branding, I have my own, my fee structure, all of those things are my own. My business is my own. So I'm not having to sell one particular supplier. I don't have relationships. It's not like you have to sell Royal Caribbean and that's the only one. Like I can really work with anybody. So that part's really, really nice. And so I'm able to do as much or as little as I want to, which is great. So it gives me that freedom and independence, which is super helpful when I'm also working and raising a child and all of those other things too. So
Right. Absolutely. I can only imagine. So you do cruises, so you do air travel, cruises.
Yep, all inclusives. I do a lot of multi-country European. So people that are going 2, 3 or more weeks, doing multiple countries or multiple places within a country. I do a lot of road trips. I do a lot of just like those really highly, town to town to town to town to town kind of things. That's mainly what I do, but I do a lot of, Hawaii, Disney, Universal. I kind of have done it all. So at this point.
Got you. Have you done private charter jets?
So I didn't have a person book, but they were very interested in doing that. So I've at least done the contacts and I've reached out to people, but haven't actually booked it yet.
All right. Well, I may have a guy for you if you need another option to share. He keeps on reaching out to me like, are you ready for that private jet charter? Summer's here. I'm like, stop emailing me.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm like, when I have those clients, which I would love to have those clients, you will know.
Right. Exactly. Awesome. So, Cecily, how did you grow a thriving agency while balancing full-time work and family and all the other things?
Yeah. So like I said, I've had my business since 2014. And in 2021, my daughter was born. And I was working in a different position at the time in a different library district. And it was very 9 to 5. Like I had no flexibility in my schedule. And so when I got the job I have now, and a big part of it was that they really want you to have that kind of work-life balance. And so part of it was I had joined a chamber of commerce in Pueblo, but never got to do anything because all of their events were during my work hours. And then when I came up here, I joined my local chamber and they offer networking groups. They offer educational opportunities, sponsorship opportunities. They do a monthly mixer every month. They actually used to do more than that, but they would have morning mixers. So I could go at like 7:30 in the morning and do some networking and get it done out of the way and then be at work the rest of the day. And then there's also like evening opportunities and stuff. So that's really what I really started to take advantage of, was finding those opportunities to work around my work schedule. And then from there, I've joined several networking groups now that have really helped me to grow my business and also growing other things like my podcast and things like that. But it's just been really trying to take advantage of the time I have. Early mornings, late nights is when I'm working my business, the weekends, all of that stuff. So it's been a change. And also now having my daughter, like knowing that she takes priority over everything else. So I will tell clients like, hey, I've got an event to go to this weekend with my kiddo, but as soon as I'm home, I'll get back to you on whatever. But most people are pretty, like, they all know that I have a family and all of those things. So, but it really is, how much can I squeeze in a day?
Right. And so how do you manage it though? I mean, I know that there's all these opportunities and there's plenty of opportunities to, network and all the things. Do you, and then you've got your full-time day job in the middle.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So it's a lot of, and right now, summer. So it's like taking my kiddo to camp and then picking her up and all of that. So it's like my calendar, like I have one overarching calendar, which is many colors and many different things. But that is like my Bible really. And so, and then I also have actually for the first time in many years got a physical planner this year, because I was realizing like there's just so much going on that I had to have it in front of me at all times. But it really is like I try to plan stuff out so far in advance so that I know what's coming. And so when I get invited to like really last minute things, I'll be like, I can't do it. And last minute being within like 3 or 4 days. But it really is like, I have to have that calendar in front of me at all times. It is constantly up on my computer. I always have it open on my phone because that's just the way, like, I just block time for things. And I will let clients know like, hey, I can't get to it today, but I will get it to you by tomorrow or the next or whatever. Like I try to be overly communicative with my clients so that they know if I'm going to be delayed for some reason, and if they're traveling, like I'm available on WhatsApp at any time. So, and it's really just prioritizing too, right? So if I have a client emergency, I can access that at any time and help them. But it is trying to then balance, like today, having other things going on, I'll be working late tonight. So there's just a lot of moving pieces, but that calendar is really what I live by.
Yeah, so relatable. I don't know if you see me nodding my head, like I probably look like a bobblehead over here. But yes, I totally get it. And living by the calendar is how I think most business owners operate, most executives operate. They live by their calendar.
Yep.
And what I've even done is blocked, prep time before a meeting, follow-up time after the meeting. And I realized if I don't take the time that's actually allocated to do the thing in that block, it just keeps crawling across the calendar, day after day for the week. And it's like, okay, this really has to get done. Or if I don't do it, then, things are going to be all bad. So
absolutely. Yeah. And I also too, in just the past couple of years, like now I have a bookkeeper I work with. I have a website person I'm working with. So I'm kind of trying to slowly kind of pass off some things. So I'm not having to literally do it all. It's been a real adjustment as well. But it is like so much of a time saver to have help.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's what we do.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, this is so awesome. So Cecily, what are some of the lessons that stand out from building business alongside family life?
I think one of the biggest things is just knowing what your priorities are. So like I said, when my daughter was born, things completely changed for me, and she is always top of mind, but she's also the reason why I work so hard, because I not only want to provide for her, obviously, but then also show her like, hey, you can have your own business. You can take your own path and you can be successful in whatever that looks like. But then also just knowing that when you're running a business, and if suddenly you're getting really demanding clients, or if you're working for free and they're not paying, or you're not charging a fee, or whatever the instance is, really looking at, why am I taking time away from my priorities to do things that really aren't building my business or helping my business in any way. I think the other thing too, for me, that I've recently learned probably in the past year and a half or so, is that my goals are my goals. And when I talk to other agents and realizing that they have very different goals and very different ways of running their business than me, in the very beginning, when you have that kind of imposter syndrome and you are comparing yourself to everyone else's business and the way that you think that they are being successful, and all of these things in your head of like, oh, they're a 5-star agent. Oh, they're doing all of these amazing things. They're traveling everywhere. They're doing all of that stuff. And realizing that path is so different than my own. And also, for me, my biggest goal was to be a 5-star agent with Dugan's. And now I've done that, and realizing that that's not everybody's goal was like mind blowing to me. I'm like, what do you mean you don't want to be a 5-star agent? And they're like, I just want to have my business. I'm like, oh, right? And that's whatever people want to do. But I think that's just being able to meet people where they're at, and just realizing like my goals are my own, and I don't have to compete with anybody else. I don't have to compare myself to anybody else. My business is my business. And so that's been, I think, a really freeing to be like, if people don't want to work with me, that's fine. Like I don't dwell on those things as much as I used to. So yeah.
Well, that's so good. So good. I mean, comparison is the enemy to success.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's some people who live by in a constant state of competition, which is, I don't know, maybe it works for them. It certainly doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like it works for you either.
No,
just
not at all.
that someone's always going to be better. Someone's always going to be worse.
Yep.
Always. So no matter how hard you strive to be number one, or to have this, that, or the other thing, that's fine if that's what moves you and what drives you. But when it starts to make you deplete you and not be fulfilling, then I think that's when it's time to reassess the value that's placed on position or status or things like that. I've never been about status, but I just wanted to help people.
That's
Yeah.
truly like when I tell client, like I do charge I charge a new client fee. It's very minimal, but like I tell people, I'm like, it's a one-time fee. I am here. Like I tell my clients all the time, I'm like, you are stuck with me for life. Like you need a car rental, you need an overnight at a La Quinta. Like I don't care. Like it's, for me, it's not about making all the sales and doing the high commission things. It's helping people. And it's like, if you're in a stressful spot and you got to get somewhere, let me take care of it for you. Let me help you. I just had a client that we had a trip booked for them and they ended up in the hospital like 4 days before they were supposed to leave. And they were just like, hey, we need to delay everything. And I was able to take care of everything for them, get their money back, get everything like delayed, all of those things. But I'm like, because you're in the hospital, like the last thing you want to be dealing with is your travel plans when you're having to go to doctor's appointments and follow-ups and all of that other stuff. I'm like, let me take care of that for you because you shouldn't have to worry about those things. And that's really what I care about more than any of the sales and the dollars and all of that stuff.
Right, right. And I love how you said, when you lock in with me, we are bonded and connected for life. And I remember when I was in corporate, and that was one of my jobs, was planning travel for my executive. We had an agency that we had to work with, and there were several different agents in the office, and I had my one. And if she wasn't there, I'd be like, okay, I guess you can do the arrangement. But my person, she knew how to find all the great routes. She knew how to find all the great deals. She knew my executive inside and out, his preferences, all the things, of course, are in his profile, but still, it's like she like committed them to memory, it seemed like. It's like I never had to repeat anything. And I just absolutely adored her. And yeah, so I understand exactly what you're saying, that yeah, when you get your person, that's your person, and they are here for you no matter what. Then the highs and the lows, and they are the magic makers, at ungodly hours sometimes.
Yep, absolutely.
Yes, exactly. So, Cecily, what mindset helps you stay grounded through challenges?
That is a really good question. I think for me, there's times where I just kind of procrastinate and get delayed. And then I will see a fellow agent who's posted, especially like I'm really passionate about our new agents and seeing them grow their business. And we have like a community of agents, and seeing other agents that are struggling with something, and maybe they've gotten their first really big sale or their first cruise sale or something like that, and that comes through in my feed, then that really suddenly motivates me to like keep going with my business. And for me, it really is like, even though schedules are crazy, like the fact that I can go pick up my daughter from school and she's still at the age where she wants to see me, there's nothing better than that. So even if I have to take a couple of minutes, like whatever she's doing, I will just go sit with her for a little bit. And it just kind of takes me out of whatever's in my head, because she's like, hey, let's play a game, or let's play with Play-Doh or whatever. And it kind of helps me just kind of not focus on that stuff and the stress and all of those things that you get in your head. I think that's really just taking those few minutes with her, because I know I'm not always going to have that time with her, and just being like, okay, now I'm motivated again, and now I can move on. But yeah, it's hard to find those times when, you're kind of on, especially for us, like I'm working on my own. I work from my home. When you're not seeing a bunch of people every single day, it's hard to remind yourself of those things. So I try to take advantage of that now with her in front of me. When she's like, hey, let's go play something, I'm like, all right, let's go.
Yes, exactly. So that's great that you have found a system or something that helps take you out of a place of negativity and something that brings you joy. Of course, your children are always going to bring you joy. Well, as I'm saying that, I'm pausing. My children are grown.
I know, I'm like, mine's about to turn 5, so it's a little different right now, but
yeah. But you still love them with everything in your whole soul, no matter what. But they're the source of joy. And if you don't have children as a business owner or an executive, there are other things where you can pour your time and attention. And when you pour your time and attention into others, whether it's volunteering, doing something, it takes the focus off of yourself and the things that you're going through. And when you can be something to someone else and pour into them. I think that really helps a lot too.
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. So in closing, before we have to, I can't believe the time is going so fast. What advice do you share with others seeking passion beyond their path?
I think one of my biggest things is just try it. And, I just had a client of mine reach out yesterday and he's like, hey, I'm thinking of going to library school. And my first question was, why? Why do you want to do that? Like, and he's like, well, I really love libraries. I'm like, okay, but what is it about that you love? Because if you're doing this day in and a day out, I can guarantee you're not going to love it every single day. But it really is, for me, I want people to be doing what they love. Yes, of course, there are the hard days, but if you're doing what you love, those hard days are a lot easier than when you just hate everything in life. So for me, it is finding what you're interested in and trying it. I have tried many things in my years, from real estate appraisal to logistics to other things. And then, I've really found what I'm good at and what I'm passionate about. And it can take a while to figure that out, but try it. Like talking about volunteering, like if there's an organization or something that you're passionate about, go talk to them. And like, if you're like, hey, this might be a career path that I want to take, go talk to somebody and just be like, hey, I'm interested in this. Can I shadow you for an hour? Or can we go to coffee or like have a conversation about it? Because they will tell you so much. And like, I am always available for travel advisors and also future librarians, future archivists. Like, let me tell you about this path because it is varied and there's so many different ways to do that. But I think people like, don't be afraid, even if it doesn't work out, even if you realize very quickly that you hate it and that you don't want to do that, at least and you can move on to the next thing. There's just so many opportunities out there, especially these days. Like there's just so many ways to do all kinds of different things. And so if you're interested, if you're passionate, talk to someone and just be like, hey, I'd love to know more about this. And, I'm always like, hey, you might not be interested in working in a public library, but I know hundreds of other archivists or other librarians. Let me connect you with one. Let me connect you with a children's librarian. Let me connect you with collection development, like whatever it is. I'm happy to provide that because I'm like, you need the info, and that's what we do. So
I love it. I love it. And people love to be asked questions.
Mhm.
People love to talk about themselves and share their experiences. So don't be afraid to ask people for advice or to just kind of tap into their gray matter a little bit to get more information. I love how you say, just try it. You never know what your path could look like if you don't just try something.
Yep.
Do something. And I just tried it when I took a test to be a librarian. There's a job opening at a library in the city where I'm from. And when I tell you, I was at the top of my class practically all through school. But when I took this test to work in the library, I'm sure I failed miserably. And I was like, why is this so hard? My brain, and that was back when we had to understand the Dewey Decimal System and all of the filing and categories. And oh my word. It was bananas. I was like, okay, this truly is not for me. I discovered quickly. That was not
That's how I was in like my master's program. I was like, oh, I don't know. Like, do I want to do this? Do I want to do what my mom did? Do I want to do? And so I got to try different classes and very quickly realized like, nope, archives is my thing. I have no interest in anything else. And so, but there's, you can audit a class. You can, there's a lot of community resources out there. Talk to your small business development council. We have business librarians here that can help you kind of figure out, these are what you've been doing here, maybe is what you can do. If you've gone to, if you have a degree, you can go back to your college, go to their career counselors. They can help you. Like there's so many resources out there for people that I'm like, just take advantage of it,
Yeah, for sure. 100%. Now, so speaking of, you said people can reach out to you. How do people find you? Where do you play?
So you can always find me at travelingnorthagency.com. That's my website. But then I also have my Facebook, I have Instagram, I have LinkedIn, and then I also have a podcast. So it's called Life Between Flights. It is a podcast made for newer travel advisors, but also just small business owners in general, talking about these crazy paths that we're on to find what we love to do. So there's a little bit of travel, a little bit of business, a little bit of life, all of those things. And so those are pretty much all the ways that you can find me. Facebook is probably the one I'm on the most, but I also love LinkedIn. I live in LinkedIn too. So, but I'm very easy to find.
Awesome. Well, and your sites are so beautiful, so
Thank you.
calming with the teal, green, and the turquoise backgrounds, and I just love it.
Yeah.
So calming and refreshing, and just makes me want to go, okay, I want to just kind of close my eyes and pick that spot.
Exactly.
Okay, take me there. I love it. So, Cecily, as we get ready to close, if nobody remembers anything that either one of us has said today, what do you want them to take away from this show?
I think it's just do something that you love, whether it's volunteering or it's crafting or it's making something or helping others, whatever it is, find something that you love and go pursue that.
Awesome. I love that. Cecily, you were made for something great. So go and be awesome.